Hello everyone, Vulcan here, and today I'll be bringing you the second part of my playthrough of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Now, I'll be honest, I wanted to bring this to you guys a little bit sooner, but I found literally almost zero motivation to play this game because a lot of it is just a repetition from the previous game, Xenoverse 1. Now, as some of you would already know, a lot of the parallel quests are basically exactly the same as what they were in the old game, with a few minor changes. Like, for example, the mission preparing for the Saiyan attack, where you start off by fighting Tien, Yamcha, and Krillin at Kami's lookout. Once you reach to the end, where you have to fight Goku, should you reach that part of the level anyways, Piccolo becomes revived. So there's small changes like that which happen in the parallel quests. But other than that, I played through the Saiyan saga already, and I even couldn't help but notice that a lot of the cutscenes and animations were perfectly recycled from the previous game. I mean, even in that, there was like the small difference of having to fight Great Ape Nappa on top of Great Ape Vegeta. So there were slight differences like that, but overall, the style was very much the same. Basically, you had to destroy the stamina bar on the Great Apes before you could actually put an attack on them. The only difference with trying to break their stamina is that you couldn't throw them with their tail anymore and cause significant amount of damage to their health or their stamina. You had to actually attack them personally with ki blasts or basic attacks or whatever. But the basic principle was still the same, so it really bored me and it demotivated me quite a lot. And I went through some of the mentor missions as well. So if we go to my play data, you can see here that I've already completed all the missions for 4 mentors, and you'll probably notice that my friendship isn't even half for Piccolo and Krillin, and in Tien and Yamcha's case, it's not even there, and that's simply because I was still able to do their missions without actually having them become my instructors. So I do appreciate what they've done with the mentor system because they made it a lot easier. But that being said, the style of their quests and their missions is still very much the same as what it used to be. And also, when you have to go to the various places on the map, for example, Super Kamiguru's house, or Frieza's spaceship, or Hercule's house, when you do missions with, for example, Great Saiyaman, or when you have to protect Super Kamiguru's house from an attack and protect the Dragon Balls, the style of those quests is still the same as Xenoverse 1, so in terms of gameplay, there is very little difference. I don't really see much difference in the AI either. I mean, it is somewhat more intelligent, and I really do appreciate the fact that super armor isn't a thing anymore. But I really don't like how much of it is still the same as before. I mean, if you want to look at the way a sequel is supposed to be in current gen, look at the difference between Shadow Warrior 1 and Shadow Warrior 2, which, by the way, I do apologize about that because, unfortunately, because of my recording software back then, I couldn't get any good recordings out. So, unfortunately, I had to discontinue that playthrough. I mean, I did finish the game, don't get me wrong, but I just had too much difficulty recording that game, so I just decided, forget it, this isn't gonna work. Since I got a new recording software, I might try again. I'm gonna test it out and see how it goes, and hopefully I can do a second playthrough for you guys. But in any case, back to this game. I'm very much disappointed, and the other thing I wanted to point out as well is I was hoping that with Xenoverse 2, the costumes would not have any stats attributed to them. For example, I got the Biosuit now, which only raises stamina a little bit. But what I was really hoping was that none of the costumes would have any stats attributed to them. And the reason I say that is because with stats being attributed to the costumes, it very much limits your possibilities for customizing your character as you want to. And for example, I don't want to be limited in like if I wanted to create a character who is basically Broly, a really big buff character, like max height, max weight, male Saiyan character, who specializes in Ki Blast, there should be nothing to stop me from doing that, because within the lore of Dragon Ball, there are many characters who are super huge, like Broly, but specialize in attacks from a distance, in Ki attacks. But, and inversely, you have many characters in the Dragon Ball series who specialize in Strike Supers, but they're very small and nimble, like Android 18. But this game only makes it so that you can only be good at Strike Supers if you're big and tough, if you're big and tall, and you can only be good at Ki Blast Supers if you're small and thin. And like I did notice that in the previous playthrough video, but I didn't really want to say anything because I wanted to still give the game the benefit of the doubt. But from what I've seen, I do give to this game, however, that it does appear to be a lot more balanced, because if we look at my stats, even though I put most of my points into Ki Blast Supers and barely anything into basic attack, you can still see that my my stat distribution is pretty much balanced in a lot of ways. Yeah, let me put that. So even though most of my points are in Ki Blast Supers, I still feel that even when I'm playing the game, I still feel that I get a lot of benefit from using basic attacks, which is by far my lowest stat here. And so I do give credit to the game for that point, because it is a lot more balanced. So clearly the differences in when you create a character aren't felt as much as they used to be in the old game. But with that said, when you consider the fact that the playstyle of the game is basically identical to the previous game, and the story mode and the parallel quests are all almost completely recycled from the previous game with a few changes here and there, like twirlies appearing during the Saiyan Saga, then there's not really much to keep me very motivated to play this game. With that said though, I will finish this game for the sake of the story, but I don't think that I'll be putting a lot of time into this game after that. So for this video, that's enough of me just standing around talking about this game. I'm gonna proceed with the story mode, and we'll go from there. So here we are in the Time Nest. How did you feel meeting such a legend? It's pretty amazing, don't you think? You still got much room to grow, but you're right up there. Don't ever sell yourself short. I mentioned this before, but there is still much to be done. Please set out and deal with the remaining changes in history. So since I have nothing else to do in Content City, I will go ahead with this. Okay, I was worried when I played through the Saiyan Saga before. I was kind of worried that it would just go ahead and skip over to the next part, like the Android Saga. But it's good to see that that's not the case. So this is looking to be quite a bit different. I'm overestimating this game, I think. But this is looking to be a little bit different from the previous game, because instead of the Ginyu Force, we get to fight Zarbon and Dodori, which is a bit of a given, I suppose.
Those two will have a hard time getting away with both Dodoria and Zarbon after them. You'll just have to help them out. Go do what you have to.
By the way, I want to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about Super. The anime has been amazing. When Dragon Ball Super was first announced, I wasn't really expecting too much out of it, but the initial arcs, which are just retellings, of Battle of Gods and Revival of F. Not a lot of it was very interesting, but after that, with the Universe 6 tournament and then the Future Trunks arc, I was really impressed. There were many badass moments in it. There were many great battles. I mean, I did really like Vegeta versus Vegeta. And
Are you here to help us out?
Goku versus Hit. Guys, that battle was incredible. And I really hope we get to see Hit again, because we haven't seen his full power apparently, so hopefully the next game, future episodes will show what he's really capable of, whether his full power is just different techniques or whether he's got some other kind of hacks in addition to his time stop.
Yeah. Ow.
Zarbon's confused. Who do I have to go after? But apparently he's gone after the space duck. I'm gonna be making quite a few Team 4-Star references in this game, by the way.
Power.
So yeah, in terms of Super, many badass moments, especially most recently with Vegeta versus Black. That felt really good. It felt really good to see Vegeta finally get payback for all the beatings that... Oh, look, there he is. For all the beatings that he's received throughout the series, but in particular with the fact that he's finally gotten his revenge, so to speak, for everything that he's put Trunks through. And
It looks like Gohan has gotten away from Dodoria. So in the end, history will continue as normal. Shouldn't you be coming back home? Hmm?
there's Lord Slug.
You may be a time controller, but you'll never survive my boundless fury.
Speaking of Black, he's easily one of my top 3 favorite villains, if not my favorite villain in Dragon Ball at this point, because the guy is the very definition of savage. I mean, consider the things he's done. He's taken Goku's body for his own, he switched bodies with Goku, went to Earth to kill Goku in front of his family, and then went on to brutalize that said family. So, and then he's gone on to kill all the gods. And you have to consider the other thing as well, that Black, if he wanted to, could destroy the Earth with one attack. But instead, he chooses to go after each of his victims one by one. And if that's not savage, I don't know what is. I mean, I always liked Frieza because he was a fucking savage, but Black, he takes it to a whole new level. So he is easily one of my top villains, if not my favorite villain in all of Dragon Ball now. And now he's fused with Zamasu and he's become Zamak. I call him Zamak, which is like Zamasu and Black together, obviously. Though the interesting thing, though, is that he still refers to himself as Zamasu, which makes sense because in the end, Black is Zamasu, so technically Black's name should be Zamasu. So for the fused Zamasu to just be called Zamasu, I think that makes sense, but for the sake of avoiding confusion, I want to refer to him as Zamak. Now, there's a lot of talk in town regarding his power level, but with Zamak coming into the picture, it's all but confirmed now that Vegeta is going to be making an appearance, and if that turns out to be true, I am going to be extremely happy about it. Like, you guys have no idea because Vegito has always been my favorite
Got a
fusion
talent for this.
by far.
Don't forget how that felt.
Even compared to Gogeta. Gogeta was amazing in Fusion Reborn, but Vegito, the way he just trolls the fuck out of Majin Buu, out of Buhan, that was just taking it to a...
My potential.
That was also savage. And look,
What was that anyway?
Vegeta's hand looks like it was at a nightclub. Vegeta's hand is shiny. Seriously, this game, the last playthrough had Goku's magic abs, and now it's Vegeta's magic hand. Jesus Christ, this game. So, yeah, back to Black.
Good work out there. Time has
I
returned to
really,
its natural
really
course.
like his character. He's easily my favorite.
We
He
did
is
some
now my
research
favorite
and
villain of all
found that
time
the pair
in Dragon Ball.
manipulating history are some pretty serious criminals. Turles is one of the last remaining Saiyans. He leads the Crusher Corps in their devilry.
Turles was supposed to be the original evil Goku.
Slug leads
But
an army of
my
demons and has conquered
friends-
a number of planets.
Black is officially
Those
top.
two. Goku defeated them both in different histories. I'd say they're probably out seeking revenge.
Trunks has been after them, but hasn't been able to catch them quite. There must
Speaking
be
of Trunks,
some way
he's
we can
really
stop
impressed
them.
me in this episode as well because you have to consider several things. I mean, he is a
Right.
hybrid, so obviously
have
his
to
potential
think.
is going to be higher than a normal, a
I
pure
have
blood
other things to
Saiyans.
do. You go ahead and work that out.
But what really impressed me as well was the fact that he's managed to master the Mafuba in record time. Because consider
Toki
that
Toki's going
everyone
to lay an egg
else
soon.
who's
So I have to make sure everything is ready for when it arrives.
everyone else who's ever tried to master the Mafuba took days, if not weeks.
How about that?
And
Congratulations.
rarely
then.
was it a case that they'd succeed on the first
Toki
attempt.
Toki is a
But
divine bird that manipulates
Trunks
time.
only took a few
His
minutes to do
eggs
it
hold the time
and
for a
succeeded in his
brand new
attempt on the
universe.
first try. So that speaks a lot
Put it
about him,
simply,
not just in terms of
Toki
raw
Toki's
raw
eggs have
potential
the
and
power to
stats, but
create
also as a
time
martial
itself.
artist. Trunks is easily one of the best written characters, if not the best written character in the entire series, followed by Vegeta.
That's why making sure Toki Toki produces
Both
healthy
of them are
eggs is
really
so
good in
important.
Super, and
it's one of the many duties of the Supreme Kai
when
of Time.
when the future Trunks arc ends, I'm legitimately going to be sad.
To think, I'll actually get to see the start of a new history.
So anyway, I've got to go now.
Oh, wait, we still don't have a plan.
Reminds me of when the Supreme Kai of Time told the Time Patroller to just give him a good nice smack, give Piccolo a nice smack on the head to get him out of Demigra's control. Like she really is a proponent
Well, I
of
suppose,
the
but-
hit him harder
Yeesh.
strategy.
Looks like brute force is all we've
Yeah.
got. We've both got it rough. Just do your best.
Yeah, so one of the things that really makes me interested is just where Zamak's power level stands now. Whether he's anywhere close to Beerus or not. Personally, I think that while maybe not Zamak, but certainly Vegito, I think, would give Beerus a good fight. He would probably take Vegeta. He'd probably take Beerus's. He would probably take Beerus's. He would probably force Beerus to go up to somewhere between 60-70% of his full power. But I say that because I don't think that anything Goku and Vegeta could do now, even fusion, would bring them close to Beerus at this point. Because within the context of the story, Beerus is supposed to be the ultimate goal for Goku and Vegeta. So even though this is happening with the fusion, there's no guarantee that they'll be anywhere close to Beerus just yet. But I guess we'll see in the coming episodes. So that'll be all for today's video. Like the video if you did, comment down below, subscribe to my channel for more, and I will see you around.